In this video, you will learn tips on how to answer different types of questions on quizzes and tests. Matching questions. First of all, read the directions. Is there a one-to-one correlation with answer choices and answer blanks, or can there be more than one answer for each question? Read the items in each column. Match the ones you know for sure. Cross out the answer choices you use if they can only be used once. Make an educated guess on the rest of them. Is a question asking for a date or person? Find an answer choice that matches that description. Multiple choice questions. Carefully read the question. See if you can choose only one answer or more than one answer for each question. Watch for certain words such as not, sometimes, always, or never. These can change the meaning of the question, and you may be looking for an exception or a special case. Read all of the choices. One choice may be partly true, but another one may be more true. Cross out any choices that are incorrect. It increases the likelihood that you will have the correct answer, and it can also reinforce that the answer you have chosen is correct. Be cautious of all the above and none of the above. If you can cross out one answer, then all of the above is no longer a choice. Similarly, if you know that at least one of the answer choices is correct, then none of the above is incorrect. If you think there are two correct answers and all the above is an answer choice, then it could be the answer. Read the question and possible answers before reading a passage. This allows you to read for a purpose of finding the answer. True, false questions. Read the statement very carefully. If part of the statement is false, then the answer is false. If the statement is true, every part must be true. Pay attention to negatives and double negatives. With a negative drop, the negative word if the sentence is true without the negative word, then a statement is false. Double negatives, two negatives make it positive. Make both negatives positive, determine if the statement is true or false. These words may indicate a true statement: some, few, many, often, sometimes, and generally, and these words may indicate a false statement: never, all, every, only, always. Fill in the blank questions. Read the whole question to see what is being asked. More blanks typically mean more words or answers. For example, if there are two blanks, the professor is probably looking for two words or two answers. Read the sentence to make sure your answer makes sense. For example, the question may be asking for a verb, so you should not put a noun in there. Short answer and essay questions. Read and follow the directions. Make sure to read the directions to know what you are writing about. Don't assume that you know what to do or what the question is asking if you don't read or don't completely read the directions. Reading the directions also allows you to fully answer the question and only give pertinent information. Ask questions if you need clarification. Be organized and specific in your response. Think about your answer before you could begin to write it. Organizing your thoughts will help the essay flow better. Be specific and provide details in your response to show the instructor that you know the material, but make sure you don't ramble. If you do not know exact information such as a date, then approximate it. Reword the prompt in your response. It gives you direction in your response, and the reader or your instructor will know what the answer is about. Be mindful of answer length. A short answer question usually requires a paragraph or two. An essay question requires a response of at least 2 paragraphs. Write appropriately and correctly. Make sure to write clearly and legibly. If an instructor cannot read the essay, you may not get points. Use paragraph to separate out ideas, and you may include an introduction and conclusion. Proofread and revise your response. Make sure to allow time to read through your essay to check for grammatical errors as well as for content errors. Short answer questions types. There are many different types of short answer questions. For a definition question, you will need to define a concept. For an explanation question, you need to explain something or how something functions. For an example question, you will need to give an example of a concept or phenomenon. In a relationship question, you need to show how something is related, such as a similarity, difference, or cause and effect. In a calculation question, you will need to compute a numerical answer or response. And in a graphing question, you will need to create a graphical answer. With an identification question, the professor is usually looking for a shorter or more concise answer. Guide words include summarize, list, describe, divine, enumerate, and state. In an explanation question, the professor usually requires a more in-depth answer with supporting details. Guide words can include discuss, explain, analyze, and illustrate. For a comparison question, the professor is looking for similarities, differences, and connections. Guide words can include compare, contrast, and relate. For an argumentative question, you must take an opinion and defend it with an analysis and information. Guide words can include prove and justify. For an assessment question, you must determine acceptable criteria and defend it in regards to an issue or idea. Guide words can include evaluate, criticize, evaluate, and interpret. Open book tests. Preparation is important. The book is a great resource, but your instructor is not grading you on how well you can look up an answer. Prepare for an open book test as you would for any other test by studying the material, highlighting your notes, bookmarking certain chapters and pages, and so on. By studying for the test, you can answer some questions without even using your book, allowing you more time to look up answers for other questions. You most likely won't have time to look up every single answer, so you must prepare for the test ahead of time. Organize your materials. Make sure you have all the materials you can use, such as your textbooks and notes. Know what is on the test beforehand and mark where the information is in your text and notes. For example, you can put sticky notes at the beginning and end of a chapter or where certain definition or key topics are. Don't plagiarize. Don't copy anything directly from the book. You may be able to use a quote or citation, but you will need to be able to put it in your own words if possible. Manage your time effectively. Skim the test to see how many questions you have to determine how much time you can spend on each question. Then start with the questions you can answer without using your reference materials. When answering your questions, be concise, accurate, and thorough with your answers, but don't over-answer the questions. By doing this, you will have more time to answer other questions on the test. Oral exam or speech. Prepare and practice. Have a thorough understanding of what will be on the test. You can ask the teacher what will be on the exam so you can have a better understanding of what to study. Practice by writing possible questions you may be asked and practice answering. You can also practice with a classmate or tutor to ensure your information is correct. Give a good first impression. Your exam starts the second you walk in the door. Make sure that you are on time to the test, and that you walk into the door with a smile and an interested look. Be dressed properly and professionally. Don't ramble. Make sure that you answer questions to the fullest extent, but also be concise. If you don't know the answer to a question, say so, but mention how you would go about finding the answer. Use visual aids and technology wisely. You can use visual aids and technology during your exam, but don't rely on them and do not use them unless they enhance your presentation. Be aware of body language. Pay attention to your body language to make sure that it reinforces what you are saying, not contradicting it. As with visual aids and technology, make sure that your body language enhances your presentation. Thank your instructor when the exam is over. This to wrap up your exam and waste a good impression with your instructor. Tests can have a variety of questions on them in different forms. When preparing for a test, ask yourself why it is always important to read the directions and full questions on a test, how to answer short answer and essay questions, and why you should always study for an open book test.